Hello there. Come on in, sit for a spell. We're going to drop into our next 72 hours portal report. We are now absolutely lined up to the new energy, Pluto in Aquarius. We also have Neptune, and yesterday Saturn also joined Neptune there in Aries. So a whole different kind of flow. We have some similarity with the energies of Neptune and Saturn joining forces as they were expressed in Pisces, but now it's merging with a little heat, a little fire. Things are getting cooking here. And it's interesting because the Sabian symbol that's going to be coming in with that new moon ring of fire in Aquarius on the 17th, that will cap off this next 72-hour portal report period. This little lens we're looking through here, the parameters we're putting around it, it does come in at 28 degrees Aquarius. So it does come in with the energy signature of the Wheel of Fortune, also the High Priestess and Strength, sometimes Justice, depending on what lens you're looking through. There's something that's being balanced out here. There's hidden knowledge that's being activated at this time, accessed at this time. There's a need to really trust your senses, go with your gut. Don't get too set in your plans, but with that Sabian symbol, 28 degrees Aquarius, it is about felling a tree to set aside provisions for the winter, for the lean times, for when you're in unfamiliar territory and you're going to need sustenance for the road ahead. So this is that energy of Saturn, where it's not just about the adventure, but what you need to get you from one checkpoint to another. So there is groundwork to be done here. It's very much chop wood, carry water. It is a way to really look at the expression of that Sabian symbol. So it is all about how something starts here. So this is a dynamic energy that we're moving into. I thought we'd open up with getting sort of an overarching theme from this super awesome future deck here, because let's just plan on it being a super awesome future. It's got to be better than what's been rolling out. Something is balancing out here. So let's check it out and see what's coming in. Well, the road is opening up here, and I love how it comes in with the 28. You see, you are traveling forward, maybe in a different way than you expect, maybe in a direction you never anticipated going in. There might have been some fear you had to confront around this, or this is what's up ahead. There is a need to look at things clearly. You can't just tuck your head in the sand. You do have to be aware of the road ahead, what it will require of you. But I do feel like once you really activate that adventurer spirit, you're going to be all in. You'll get there quickly. You got a lot of power on your side, but maybe you're taking some actions here that are really off the cuff, not what you would even anticipate yourself doing here. Certainly will kind of have other people, you know, looking at you funny, but you are operating from a point of inner directive here. I see you got your compass, you're traveling light, and you are ready for an adventure, and you do have some kind of roadmap here. You do have some sense of where you're going. You know it's somewhere where you feel you belong. Something's calling you home, and whatever that home is for you, it can look very different from, you know, what other people may view as home. So home can even be like a state of mind. Home can be a certain person that you feel aligned with. Home can be a path of purpose. Home can be somewhere geographically. And some of you may be going out to really explore. Explore, what does that look like for me? What is home for me? Where do I belong? And so this might just be kind of opening up a road of exploration. Maybe finally being willing to kind of come out of isolation, come out of hermit mode. Be willing to kind of like take a look at what's going on out there in the world and where you can find your place in it. There might be an opportunity to travel somewhere. There is some adventure that is opening up here with this new moon, and you are the rider. It might take being a rider on a storm, but I think you have what it takes to ride it out, because there's something about facing this squarely. So let's get some more details coming in here. Ooh, a little bit of a crossing energy. Well, the cat's out of the bag. There's no more secrets here. So something's fully understood. There may even be a group of people that are sort of disbanding here. There may be some compromising agreements that you freed yourself from. You smelled what you were stepping in there, and you decided that you needed to pull out of an arrangement. I do feel this is also people who've been operating in secrecy, secret society stuff. Also, those who have been working more of the left-hand path in a very distorted way in relation to the occult are really being called out. There's an understanding of the interconnectedness between secret societies and just how much they are plugged in to the world order structure. I think that that's something that's really being revealed to the public on a grand scale. And yet I think those in the know have always known that people in positions of power often are hungry for power. And those who are hungry for power sometimes do view that through a distorted lens. And that does draw them more toward paths of occultism that are rooted in personal acquisition at any cost, maybe not really having a sense of ethics. And I'm not going to say that everybody who explores left-hand traditions necessarily operates out of a lack of ethics, because it's not true. There's value in exploring shadowy terrain, but it's all about your ability to hold shadow and light in balance. And some people really get sucked into the underbelly of things. And I do feel like this is what is evident. Like something can only be concealed for so long. Something's being revealed. It is justice. It comes in with the energy of justice, but I do feel like this is the rough end of justice for those who have been hidden, those who had the advantage of operating behind the scenes and working in these sort of secret circles are being seen now. So their moves are drawing attention. Yes, look, it's a tower, but the tower's needed, okay? So I know this stuff is really at the forefront of the consciousness and the collective because of what's rolling out on the macrocosm. But these electrifying moments are needed because this is Pluto in Aquarius. We need to wake up if we're going to transform anything. The tower has to fall in order to build something on a new foundation. So, like it or not, this is our vehicle forward here. And there's a lot that's being seen from all angles of the spiritual spectrum, and in some cases, even through traditional power structures, traditional religious structures. There's like a veneer that is being seen through. The veneer is not such a polished appearance as it used to be. There's something here that is not able to conceal the reality of what's been going on here. And that can be destabilizing for people, certainly. And when you look at a collective awakening like this, when so much truth-telling is going on, it certainly puts people in a position where they start to question reality. You know, they start to question their own sense of security, what they've created for themselves in their life, and does it really have any basis? And there is an understanding that the future isn't guaranteed. So it really does bring us more into the present. And it also lets us know that we need to start moving differently. So I think this is really at the forefront of the consciousness, just because there's so much coming out around this right now. And I think it's very essential. It is tying up a significant karmic cycle here. And it's an awakening moment. But whatever this awakening moment is, and whatever's coming up and out here, whatever's being seen that wasn't being seen before. And some of you are seeing this in your own connections, in your social circles, and associations that you thought you really knew. You're starting to see that there's stuff that was going on a little bit deeper there beneath the surface, and what you're seeing might be surprising, and what you're seeing makes you realize, I need to step out of certain rooms because I don't want to step in that. I don't want that trailing behind me, okay? So I do see that there's associations breaking up. We did have that energy come in about releasing allegiances, and this is more of this kind of rolling out. Certainly happening on a more global level, and something that will kind of dominate headlines here, but it's also going on in our own personal spheres here. Awakening moments, realizations coming through thick and fast, realizations changing the way we move, realizations making us more daring as we face down what may have been secret fears and realize, well, it's here now. So what am I going to do with it? I need to open up to the spirit of adventure. I got to find a way through somehow. Now that I'm burdened by the knowledge on what I've been schooled about, I can't just kind of hang out here in the South Node. There may be like a sense of grief around this. There may be a sense of grief, feeling very torn in two directions. Your head may tell you to do one thing. Your heart may tell you to do another. You may be afraid about heading down a particular road, but you know you have to go there. You have to face your fear because you're now burdened by what you learned about a situation. Coming in with the Hermit energy. So the Hermit's on the move. The Hermit's not in isolation anymore. The Hermit's also bridging the gap between the head and the heart by breathing life into the possibility of a different road, a different perspective, but that does require taking a step, and that step moves out of the crossroads. And it's interesting here because there's crossing energy here, but the crossing energy is in reverse. So this is really understanding that one has been loyal to something that actually works against them. See, the 10 goes to the 11 here. And this is recognizing that there's been secret alliances even within a group where you thought that everybody was on the same page. So this is factions within factions. You know what I'm saying? So many factions. And seeing that maybe where you thought there was like loyalty or alignment, there's actually something being revealed here, something that's been a little bit secret about who's been cavorting with who. This did come in reverse as a crossing energy. So somebody's recognizing that where they thought they saw happiness, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And it's coming in with the energy of 8 and 3. So that together makes 11. It's a big time of justice. And I do feel like there needs to be this awakening that, wait a minute, I'm not aligned with the right people. I'm not aligned with the correct relationship. I'm not aligned with the right kind of work that I really feel called to do. I'm not on the path that really leads me to that sense of this is where I belong. Something's off here. And it's because of something that's being exposed that may initially cause like some solar flares, all right? It might cause you to feel a little overheated, or somebody in the situation that you're dealing with could be having a bit of a flare up of emotions because they're recognizing that something didn't go quite as planned. It didn't turn out the way they thought it would. It might have felt like they were in a really strong position in the past, but something is shifting here. And it looked like it was going to be a real fruitful direction. It looked like it was going to be something that was going to offer a lot of growth, maybe even a lot to acquire here, because this energy came in about acquisition, right? Might have led to some success. It looked like it was heading in that direction, and then something happens here. There's an awakening moment. Something that was hidden is revealed. maybe some kind of associations, that deals that were cut on the side, where certain people that were supposed to be banded together are now recognizing, wait a minute, what's this? I got left out of the loop. This is a plot twist. This is a changing in plans here. And why wasn't I alerted to this? So it's interesting. There's secrets within a group where there was a sense of loyalty. And it does have it does have occult influence all over it. I mean, we got nods at Masonry here, Illuminati, secret society stuff, not so secret anymore. There's certain things that cannot really come to fruition in the way that was envisioned. And in fact, they're coming to a close. These two energies combined come out to 21, the world. So something that was considered fixed, set in place, like this is in the bag. The cat's out of the bag. It's not in the bag anymore. And now it's more like a grab bag energy. It's anyone's bag. Somebody could even be running off with the bag while other people in the scenario try to catch up with the plot. Now, I'm aware as I'm bringing this in that this is sort of like a real merging of energies, of macrocosmic, microcosmic energy. So you're going to have to really look at things through this kind of lens, this kind of perspective, and understand that those lines are really blurred right now. And the energy will express itself in your own sphere of influence. You'll have these same kind of feelings and experiences within your own personal contacts and the situations you're grappling with and the choices that you're arriving at as a result of what you're seeing kind of roll out around you in your own environment, and also within your internal reality, how you're feeling about things, what's awakening in you. But you're certainly seeing this go on in very public situations with groups that hold a lot of power, and what is unraveling there, what's coming undone, not having such a grasp on things that they once did. 1717 on the clock. And see, that is that changing of the guard energy. We need that to happen. We need that to happen so there can be the forging of a new way. And it's going to take work. It's going to take facing our fears. It's going to take stepping out of isolation. No man is an island, right? And haven't we been learning that? No man is an island. There's so many other people attached, okay? This kind of energy. So you're taking what you learned here and you're moving forward with it. You're facing your fears. You're not chicken anymore. You want to get to the other side of this road. The only thing I think you need to consider is you might be unnecessarily weighing yourself down here by trying to school other people, trying to catch them up to speed, trying to show them something that you've understood. And you can't force somebody to see things from your perspective or to understand what you've learned experientially. It doesn't matter how many times you try to break it down for them or show them the evidence of why they might want to rethink something. It doesn't matter. Some people need to learn, and some people learn the hard way. Some people go through the school of hard knocks, and that's just what's necessary. But you don't need to be subject to that. All you need to do is let go. It's not your responsibility to catch these people up to speed. Let them learn what they need to learn, and you move forward in the direction you need to head in. In actuality, a lot of the fears and anxieties and things that may hold you back from taking a step is specifically because you insist on being tethered to all this stuff. All these other people's opinions need to have awareness, answers about why you're doing what you're doing, and give them the justification for your choices. Like, that's what's holding you back. That's what's wearing you out. That's what's causing you so much grief. And if you just kind of say, this is it, I'm facing this head on, and I'm going to go forward on this road. I know what I need to do here. And if you catch up to speed, great, but I can't sit here and like break it down for you anymore, because the writing's on the wall. I mean, that's why I see 20 on the clock, judgment on that. The writing's on the wall, and you know it, you feel it. You feel it. You're gonna feel it, okay? You're gonna feel it. Yep, you're gonna feel it. Look at this secret. See, this is all being dismantled right now. It is, and everything is on the line. Coming in with the energy of 3113. And it's interesting because the way it came in, you know, it's 31, but when I hold it up here, it comes through more as 13. So there's this a little bit of a mirroring sort of energy here. And I think about 31, and certainly we recently passed through January 31st, right? Something closed out in January, perhaps, that's really reaching a critical point of judgment at this time regarding some kind of strategy. Has something to do with conflict. There's been intel around this, intelligence around this, and intelligence agencies tapping into this. There's a lot that concerns morality around this, ethics around this, as well as power structures that are connected to traditional values. Yes, it infiltrates there too. Church and state, the blending of the two, where there's compromising arrangements between the two as well, that boil down to money, deeds done in the dark, what's done to fund wars, all of this kind of energy. This secret stuff is coming up and out. It's stuff that's been in play for a long time, because I also think of 31, and it makes me think of Halloween. And I think of Halloween, and I think of ancestral energy. So this is like bloodline stuff. This is stuff that's passed down through bloodlines, power structures. This is when we're looking at the top people in charge, and there's exposure here. It's coming out in reverse. That's because power structures are being dismantled. There's also something you're learning about here in your life, where there's been a source of conflict, where there's been a lot of weighing something out in regard to who you can trust, you know, who's on your side and who isn't. There's a certain level of ambiguity here, and there is a sense of a lot of secrecy, but secrecy that is no longer something that is being kept hidden. It's now being revealed. And this is what's allowing somebody to get a clear view of what needs to be transformed. And it's the very thing that's giving them the power for the road ahead. This is somebody actually embracing the journey. They've learned something that was rooted in the past, and it's given them the courage to rise above what's been holding them back from opening a certain road. Coming in with the energy of the king and the magician here. So somebody is bringing about a transformation. They are deciding to go on a journey. They are breaking away from a certain group and association. Perhaps even a complicated love tryst. Something that seemed like it would be more, it's kind of coming in as like being sold a fantasy, and then recognizing, it's probably because of the macrocosmic energy, but it feels a bit like realizing you signed up for Fantasy Island. Yeah, you fell for the temptation. You didn't know what you were getting yourself into. You didn't know how many snakes in the grass you were surrounding yourself with this particular association. But the knowledge is becoming very clear with that ring of fire. And there's a critical choice to be made here too. And it could be a critical choice that's being made for two that actually are supposed to join forces, but they got a lot of compromising elements around them that are trying to tear this apart. And I think this is what's being seen. This is what's being seen. So there is somebody here that's recognizing that they've been dealing with a really slippery energy. Maybe somebody who's actually quite emotionally manipulative. And they feel like their true path that's calling them, it's off in the distance. So there's something they're aiming for here. And again, we have this energy of the horse, the centaur. There could be Sagittarian energy here, Jupiterian energy coming through too, because I think about that Saturn and Neptune entering Aries. And now it's that water energy merging with the fire. It is that alchemical moment. It is that type of focus, daring, optimism, and sense of adventure, willingness to kind of pioneer, go into unexplored territory, because there's a real sense of drive and purpose there that is very much equated with that Jupiterian energy. Sagittarius has Jupiter as a ruler, but so does Pisces. But it's almost like it's being expressed through the one, right? It's being expressed through that energy, because that one energy is also the house of Aries. So this is having the fuel for the fire to actually know how to focus where you're aiming at, because you understand what that thing is that the Pathfinder is howling for. The Pathfinder, the wolf, howls at the moon because it longs to join with that elusive thing that has captured their heart, that they feel like is always out of reach. But you see something, some knowledge, some insight, what's being revealed here does bring it into reach if the correct action is taken and if there's focus here. There's a recognition of kindred soul connection here. And this is what's giving someone the courage to sort of head out on the road on their own, to face the fear and leave an old storyline behind. But see, this is where there does need to be the awareness that you might be taking something forward with you here that should not come forward with you. It's weighing you down. And this could be associations or other people that you're including in this, or you're kind of tipping them off. You're letting them, you may not see it as tipping them off. You may feel like you're just confiding in friends. 2727. Double nines comes to 18, the moon. When you don't see those, there's something concealed there that will be revealed, that makes you realize, oh, now I get it. Now I understand why something's been out of reach. And with that, you do set yourself free. There's happiness that comes in here. There's something that breaks up the monotony. You may be receiving some kind of gift, and it might come in quite unexpectedly, but something is moving forward here. Something's moving forward here. The time 2:40 is of significance. 2:40 a.m., 2:40 p.m., okay? Breaks down to 6. So yeah, this does involve a choice to finally take a step out of the crossroads. You're arriving at a choice because there's some clarity that's coming in here that's changing your point of focus as a result of what's being revealed within an inner circle, within a circle that you have strong associations with. And in some cases, it involves a love connection, a love tryst, something that was very tempting, but it might have really led you down a garden path that also brought in some questionable associations. Or there could be something on the periphery of your situation that is attached to this energy, right? In some way, it concerns you, and you're finding out about this. A little bit of a point of reflection. You may have thought that you were dealing with like a real rough run of bad luck. You may have wondered if there were people that were doing work on you. You may have wondered how come you haven't had the power to transform a situation. You may have thought it was you that was the problem. Like, I must have been born under a bad sign, or I just got bad luck. Things never work out for me, or somebody must have a little dolly of me and they're putting pins in that poppet while they're thinking of negative things about me. But actually, it might just be that you're connected with people that don't have the same sense of ethics that you do, that don't even have the ability to sort of reflect on their own actions, their own choices like you do. They don't feel the same sense of responsibility. There's something you're seeing more clearly here. And a former reflection is being cracked. It's like it's being shattered. You're not seeing something the way you used to. You're also maybe looking back at certain choices you made or ways that you showed up and recognizing, like, what was I doing? Like, that's not even me. What did I get connected to here? So it's almost like you're looking at where things have gone awry and you're spotting a thread of connection. And it has a lot to do with your connections. Like, who were you connected with when you were going through this stuff? And you may have been releasing allegiances. And this is what you're going to recognize. Wow, it wasn't that it had anything to do with me per se, but how I was seeing myself as a result of who I was connected to, or what ideas they put in my head, because I trusted these people. I valued their opinion. I really took on board their advice or their suggestions. I thought they had my best interests at heart. And in a way, I effed myself. I crossed myself because I didn't trust myself, even when I felt like this doesn't really feel like me, or I don't know, that doesn't feel right to me. You didn't want to trust your own intuition. This is how you can kind of like jinx yourself. And I think once you are seeing through something that's been a bit of an illusion for you, you get absolute clarity here. And this is when your fortunes begin to turn. Suddenly you're not so timid about taking a certain action. You don't feel like you don't have, anything holding you back. You feel like you're in a position where I do have the power. I do have the authority to make a choice. I do have the courage to face this, to take a new action here. And I think this is just the one thing that's really coming through, is that you don't need to sit there and justify it to anybody why you're making that choice. This is something you've arrived at through real thorough reflection and understanding that what you were viewing as something that was reflective of who you were because of who you were associated with, it's not true. It's an illusion. It's a projection that you took on and started to see as your own reflection in the mirror. But now that facade is falling away. And if there was any kind of manipulation, or if there was any kind of spell or glamour that was cast over you, it's worn off. You've seen through it because you've come into your own sense of inner clarity. And I just think this is the last piece, This is the last piece that frees you from what's tethered you in the South Node. Is you do not need to drag these old energies forward with you as some sense of personal obligation, like you feel indebted in some way. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to get a new perspective. And you also might need to recognize that by holding on with this need to catch others up to speed, in a way, you're also keeping them kind of like in a place where they don't have the opportunity to learn their lessons, gain their own insights. Sometimes you do have to release the ties that bind. And it's not until each individual has their freedom to sort of really reflect on their own personal experience is there the arrival point that maybe leads to an awakening moment for others as well. It's like it's not your job. It's not your job to catch others up to speed. You may want to. You may see like you're moving in a direction that's it's gonna cause you a lot of harm. I don't want to see you go in that direction. But at a certain point, you do have to consider yourself. You do. You do. And so I think this is the last piece. And there's something here that you've been tethered to that you're finally releasing. And for some of you, this is happening on more of an energetic level. You need to just shed some final emotions that have been lodged within you. It might be grief, you know. But I feel like on the other side of this clearing out and facing your fears and really letting go. And maybe also, you know, letting yourself off the hook. If you feel like you got duped or you got worked, I think that you wanted to trust. You know, it's enough with like kind of holding yourself to the mat too. At some point, you have to kind of polish the mirror and see who you are now. Get a clear reflection and then you move forward in your power with clear vision. Something's getting you on the right track here. But it does come with the revealing of something that wasn't seen before. And that's what gets you centered here. But it brings a gift. It brings happiness. And where things have become very monotonous, you're being freed from that monotony. It's bringing you back to life again. You're rising above what's held you back in the past. All right. And where you belong, it may feel like I never expected that this is where I would belong. But it actually does really put you in a position of empowerment here. And I do feel that you are really figuring out that place where you belong. And you're also realizing you've had the power all along. So interesting energy coming through here. Interesting energy. I also feel like as you're coming into this place of alignment and maybe coming into a key alliance with another, there are others that are still kind of like outlier energies that want to know what's up with that. All right. And they may want you to give them some answers. And maybe you need to start really questioning why people need to know every detail about why you're doing what you're doing here. Why are you pulling out investment to head in that direction? What is that about? See, they're in the dark. They don't understand where you're investing your energy right now. They want to know. They just know that you've pulled your energy away from previous associations. It is coming in with the 8 energy. It's like what was clandestine, what was hidden. This is what you pulled away from. Yeah, because you recognize that there was an imbalance of power there that really came to light for you, that something was not ethical and actually disempowered you. And so in order to find your balance, it's really important that you preserve this new beginning. I mean, there's 2 aces here. You got an ace of clubs, you got an ace of hearts, you got your heart fire. You have a clear decision, but you are moving cloaked, like you're not necessarily advised to share these intentions with a particular group, especially a group where you had some kind of secret association, secret involvement. There may have been a lot of loyalty built up there because you may have felt like it's us united against a common cause, you know. An objective we want to achieve here, but you've had something illuminated for you that makes you realize I'm not aligned with you all anymore, and something has been transformed here. You got 2 aces at your disposal, and you would be wise to move into that high priestess magician energy here, where you trust your intuition as you set about to bring renewal into your life with this heart fire that's been activated for you. You're walking away from something here. I feel like you're walking away from a particular group of people. It feels like a group of people that you recognize you no longer have resonance with, where you're finding out that there's been secrecy and factions within factions. You don't want to be associated with this. You don't want to be part of this. You're starting to recognize the way somebody used their power in a manipulative way, and you freed yourself from that. And together it comes in as this Wheel of Fortune energy, having the momentum you need to rise above the challenges of the past. Something is seen very clearly here. Okay, I want to get a round of these shadow light playing cards to see what other details want to come through. Yeah, it's the end. It is the end of that. And you're very clear about it. You got Archangel Michael energy around this. So this is a good judgment call to cut this free. It will protect some future growth for you. It will protect your harvest eventually, all right? You may not see that harvest right now, because I do feel like in some ways you're sort of operating on blind faith. But the further you move away from this sphere of influence, what you're going to start to feel is a lot of lightness coming in. You're not going to feel as weighed down. You're also not going to feel like you're in the dark and you don't know what the next step should be, because you'll enter the flow of synchronicity, and what you need will show up to light the way ahead. It's interesting too, when people move like that, when they move very covert, when they're associated with people who operate, you know, behind the scenes, and there's always some plot that's brewing. They don't understand the way that that can also sort of have the same kind of effect on your outer reality. You know what I mean? It's like what you're always nurturing within. So if you're always operating in a place of secrecy and you don't have transparency where it really counts. I mean, some things you do need to have intimacy with. Some things are not to be shared with everybody, right? But when you hold certain information from people that really they should have awareness of what the terms of arrangements are between you, you'll find that that starts to affect your reality in the sense that you feel like you don't know what's going on. You don't know who to trust. You don't know what the right path is or what the right choice is, because you start to distrust everybody around you because you're not being honest. You're not being authentic. It really takes you out of your center point of alignment. And if you've been around people who move like that, even if you're not like that, it can start to affect you. It can put kind of like a film over your life where you don't see things accurately, a veneer over your reality that really changes the way you see something. And it's not until you get a little separation from that influence that you start seeing things clearly. You start realizing, well, that's not my energy at all. This has everything to do with who I've been associating with, what we've been focused on. And that's when you start to get back into your power, your essence, and more centered in your own heart's directive here. And that's what I feel is happening here. There's something that's being transformed, and you're seeing beyond something that you couldn't see through in the past. And it's causing you to change course. And I do feel like where you know you can't reveal this to certain people because you've already been shown how they move, that's a wise recourse. That's a wise recourse. Because these people do want to know where you're going. And if you haven't taken this action yet, because you may not have, I think you definitely know what you want to do. And I think you know you need to keep it close to your chest. There's a sense among the group that you're not on board. So they're already catching wind of this, right? They're already talking about it. There's people already talking about it. Yeah. They know. 5 of diamonds in the shadow, crossing energy. Where things used to be set in place, they're not anymore. Things are now in flux. Okay, there's something here that is going south in a big way. We have Queen of Spades in the shadow. Okay, there could be somebody here who is very cold around this. Feels very cold. Maybe is cutting things off in an almost brutal sort of way. Okay, brutal sort of way. It's because with the 10 of clubs coming up in the light, they're actually seeing what has been happening here. Something that was in the dark is not in the dark anymore. They're recognizing what's been weighing them down. And with that, it's like a very almost fierce sort of line being drawn in the sand where it's like, absolutely not. I do think that people feel that somebody is being very cold in what they're cutting off here. But it's because they're seeing what was hidden, what's been put upon them as a result of these associations. And they don't want to go that way. See, this is the 7 of clubs coming up in reverse, and it's in the shadow. 17, this is not the star. I am not heading in that direction. I am not heading in that direction. That is not where I'm going. To go there is a burden. To go there is a burden. There's also a sense of tired, of needing to defend one's position, needing to defend one's choices. Feeling like every time I share what I'm doing or I try to justify why I feel the way I do, every time I try to relate something that cannot be conveyed with words because it can only be understood experientially, and it's my experience, not yours. Every time, that's the very thing that puts me in a position where now I'm burdened because I have all of this opposition coming at me. Like somebody recognized that it does not serve me to include you. It does not serve me to put you in the loop. I need to make a clear boundary line here. I'm not going to be burdened by this anymore. I've already gotten the insight that I need. I've already seen what I need to see, and I'm moving forward here. So there's definitely an awakening moment coming in here that preserves the 10 of Hearts. And there's absolutely good news that comes in relation to this. To others, it feels cold that somebody breaks away like this, but it's necessary. And that's interesting because that energy came in to open up about, you know, sometimes you do need to act from the left. Sometimes you do need to take more of a severe sort of action. And I think that something has been dragging on for such a long time and maybe has become too corrupt or too mired in complication, too mired in secrecy, too mired in factions and divided loyalties that, you know, sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you have to go left to make something get on the right path again. That's what I feel here. So somebody's taking a strong action, and I feel like they're not going to allow themselves to be burdened by trying to explain it to others, okay? They've seen what they need to see. They recognize that where they were going, that's not the star for me. That is not the star for me. And I'm going to bring that to an end. And I'm getting recentered here. So somebody is breaking from a group of people. That's what I feel. But they do, I feel like there's like one association within that group where this person does feel like a real strong pull or cord of connection, that it's hard for them to keep something from this person. Like there's some kind of binding arrangement there. There could be a little bit of a tripping point. And I do need to bring that in because I feel like you're almost there to a certain arrival point, judgment coming in with that. But it does require that you go this alone. You go this alone. You can't let this person in on this. You let this person in on this, you're going to find that there's a lot of opposition coming your way. And that may not be what you want to hear. But like somebody that you have been sharing things with, they're actually telling people who would like to stop you from achieving something here. That really works against you. It really works against you. And you need to understand that. This is a South Node matter. South Node matter. But I think that where you need that final piece of information or that final source of confirmation, yeah, something's coming through here to really light it up for you. And it might bring a bit of a tower, but ultimately it's your tower of power because it does let you know, okay, I got to go. I can't continue to include these people in my plans. All right, little shadow light coming out together here. What do we got? Look at that. See, there's that Queen of Spades. She's in the light. So she comes off to a particular group here. Like, she's a bitch. She's cold. She's cold as ice. She's cruel. She's heartless. How could you? How could you just walk away like that? Leave us in this place of confusion. Well, maybe she's the decision maker. She didn't want to deal with trying to unravel some knot that you all tied into place, you know. She said, forget it. I'm just going to pull out my sword and I'm going to cut through it just like Alexander the Great. There, the Gordian knot has been resolved. Suddenly, I'm not tethered anymore. And guess what? As a result of me not being tethered, you're also free too, which means you can do whatever you want to do as well. I'm not holding you back. I feel like that's that kind of perspective there. This Queen of Spades is in the light, but appears to be in the shadow to others. And when I see that shadow energy in that way, it almost makes me feel like the sense of consternation is coming from not knowing what they're doing. Not knowing what their plans are, because there is sort of this energy of surveillance, keeping an eye on somebody, you know, wanting to know what are you up to, some kind of conflict here, compromising alliances, compromising friendships, agreements, all of this. And somebody's just like cut off access. You don't get to know what I'm doing. And I think that they're protecting their interests here. It looks favorable. Let's see why they're doing this. Because here's like this shadow card coming out here. Yeah, I'm not going to let you know what I'm up to because I know what you're working with. And you're going to try to work me and work this situation to your advantage. This could even be in relation to somebody's work. Something they're working on here. They don't want the complication. They don't want all of this attached to it. Okay, absolutely not. The Ace of Clubs in reverse, absolutely not. Pulling out investment in that direction. It's not the wise investment. Do you see? It's not the wise investment, and it needs to be cut off for sure. It needs to be cut off because it's something that actually traps one in a negative cycle. And looks like somebody's getting themselves free. All right, that looks good to me. Let's do a cut of the deck here, see what we got. Built on a faulty foundation, so it must come down. It's a tower, but that tower does lead to victory. It does lead to success, and it's because of the courage to cut something off and to do so definitively. And maybe that's never been done before, because before, you know, that wasn't the way it used to function, but it is the way it functions now. So this is what I see really going down. Let me go ahead and get around glow in the dark tarot here too. just to bring it further into view. Yeah, moving away from troubles. Like somebody's got the memo. Somebody's getting the news. There's information coming in, and it's letting them know. Time to move away from troubles and understanding what's been causing the troubles. Right? So they're making it a definitive decision to put something behind them. It's not that there's not any grief associated with it for that individual. I think there is hurt around it. But, you know, sometimes you have to make a head over heart decision, especially if it's something that's holding you back from what you know is right, what you know is true, what's in alignment with your heart, what you feel charged to do. You have to make some tough calls. Somebody had to make a tough call here. Somebody has to make a tough call here. And I do feel like the news, the information they need is coming in. And it will be surprising, illuminating. It may even be just really surprising that it's like, yep, I knew it. You know, just that confirmation. There could be a part of you that didn't want to believe certain things that will have them confirmed. And, you know, it's important. It's important. It's important to see the truth in a situation. Okay, so let's just get around here. Yeah. I mean, something's been in inequity here as far as a group arrangement is concerned. And there was somebody in this situation that held more power than the others, and they held that power over the others. There may be two that have really been compromised in this situation. Somebody may have already been freed from this arrangement, free from this situation, and another could now be reaching out to connect with them because they now understand why somebody walked away and why they cut something off the way they did. They're starting to see the inequities. Yeah, that's what I feel it is. What have we got here? Absolutely. Look, Wheel of Fortune. Somebody is separating themselves from a group because they're arriving at the truth, and now they're just going on blind faith. They're turning the Wheel of Fortune, freeing themselves from a tricky situation, and they finally understand something that was a bit of a mystery. They have resolved the riddle, and it's getting things moving here. It's transforming the reality. There's something they have to leave behind in order to open this road, but as they open this road, something that's been held back for a long time is starting to come into view. So it's a good energy. This is positive energy. You got Sagittarius energy here. We got the fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius could all be connected to this situation, right? Somebody is absolutely transforming something that has been causing them blockages for a long time. It's like you don't realize how easy it is to free yourself from the blockages. All you need to do is let yourself be freed from this situation by walking away, letting go of what you know doesn't feel right in your heart, what goes against your sense of principles. This is associating with something and making excuses for associating with something that you know in your heart, like, this is not right. This is not right. But kind of being talked into it because people you trust or you feel a sense of loyalty to are providing reasons for justification. But inside, you know it's not right. You know it's not right. And so eventually you have to really defend and stand on business. You have to defend what is right and really decide what you're willing to invest in. And that's what's creating the movement here. A lot is going to be on the move. Once you really make the choice to act on your truth after having something illuminated for you, everything is going to start to free up. You're going to recognize, I didn't need to be in this position. As long as I've been in this position, struggling, operating in the dark, burdened, dealing with all these hassles, feeling like I'm in a bad luck cycle. You mean I didn't need to deal with this? it's really true too, you know, when you're dealing with a group of people and they're operating unethically, and let's say you're not operating unethically, but you just have association with these people because you care about these people. And maybe you make excuses for them because, well, maybe there's been times in your life where, you know, you didn't act out of your highest, you know, sense of consciousness, you know. And so you make concessions for people. And then you don't realize the way that your fortunes can become really tied to who you're associated with. And there's something you're recognizing here that's been holding you back. And once you free yourself from it, everything moves forward in a very positive way and quicker than you expect. There's going to be a lot of changes that get kicked off right now that are going to be playing out over the next couple of months here. There's going to be a lot of communication coming in too. You may receive communication from some people that you have cut off as well, that you walked away from. Do expect them to try to get the upper hand again and get you reeled back in, all right? They know you're on the move. They know you're on the move, and so they feel it's threatening the security of what they've already established here, so you do need to be prepared for this. And you need to stick to your guns because you do have an important alignment coming in here for you. And this is not something that's on an uneven footing. This is somebody who matches your energy. This is a source of healing and transformation in your life. This is an alliance that lifts you up out of the troubles of the past, and something is transformed here. It's a beautiful association. It's a beautiful connection. This is what's at stake, right? So you do have somebody coming in here that you're joining forces with. But it's only possible once you transform what's been holding you back. And I do see you doing it. I do see you doing it. Because you're going to recognize what's been operating behind the veil, what's been concealed. And once you have knowledge of that, you have to act upon it. And I do feel like you're coming from a very balanced perspective. And there may be some people that view what you're doing as being a bit harsh. They may even say you're acting out of your shadow, maybe because they haven't seen this kind of fierceness from you. Or maybe they've never seen you angered. There's such thing as righteous anger. There's such thing as being able to stand in a place of righteous rage when you're standing up against something that's corrupt. Whatever judgment call you're making here, you're trusting your intuition in regard to this. And not just your intuition, but your own experience from having danced with a particular devil. You understand the nature of this corruption on a very intimate level. You've already had to free yourself from something. And you're not going to be held back trying to help others see the light of what they've become entangled in. These people are very fixed, very set in their ways. This road is opening, and this road is opening for you. And it's opening by giving you a very clear reflection of yourself through seeing the truth in a situation. And this is going to give you an opportunity to step into a new cycle. And this cycle is the journey of the Fool. And it leads you on the path where you truly belong. It shows you your path of power. And there is success once you enter that stargate, that portal of transformation on the Ring of Fire. But it does require that you rise. It does require that you rise. Only you can decide if you're ready for that. But if you do, you see it's the rebirth of Venus, Empress energy. And your garden will grow. There is so much that will come to fruition for you. It's beautiful energy, ma'am. It is. It's very beautiful energy. So we got Libra, Taurus, all the fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Cancer, Sagittarius, Aries energy come out, Capricorns here. right? A lot of dynamic energies in play. A lot of dynamic energies in play. Do I want to get some numbers? Interesting. Oh, there they are. The dice were hiding. I was going to say, I don't know. I don't see the dice. Maybe we don't need to do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's see what we got here. Numbers of significance. Life path 6, life path 2, life path 4, life path 8, life path 1. Okay. We got Wheel of Fortune coming through here. Wheel of Fortune coming through here. We also got life path 3. We also got 2, rooting something here together, maybe through communication, leads to the 6, leads to a decision that frees one from the crossroads, frees them from where they've been caught up. It turns the energy from the south node, moves it on up to the north node. We also have life path 4 coming in here. And we have 11. Okay, life path 11, life path 2, justice energy rolling out on the scene. We have Cancerian energy, Scorpio energy, Libra, Virgo, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Aries, Taurus. All right. Just to give a clue about who might be involved in your situation. Feels like a lot of players in the mix here. Let's go ahead and get some ERISIAN Spirit Board action just to bring in further clarification. Got a name coming out right off the bat. I got the name Dean. Okay. Also, this is coming before. There could be something around a dean at a school. And I got falcons coming in here. So I don't know if there's a football team or something, a sports team called the Falcons associated with a school. There could be somebody named Dean that's on the Falcons. I don't know. There's something coming in around that. I also got the name Deanna. Okay. The name Dana. I heard Dana Carvey in my head, so I don't know what that's about. Something about a non-disclosure agreement. Okay. Always the macrocosmic energy factors in here. Follow something through, something that you started to set in motion. I feel like you took some steps in a particular direction. You got a little momentum and then you got a little sidelined by it. Follow through, okay? Especially over the next few days, put some focus, some work in the direction that you already took some action in a particular direction and then you sort of put it aside for a moment. Get back to that, okay? Make hay while the sun shines. This is important. This is really important that you follow through with something you've already set in motion. Also, there's some kind of education coming in here. So there is something coming in about a school. So I am sticking with that message about the dean of a school because I do have education coming in here. I also feel like you're being educated about something. Once you're educated about something, you're not just meant to like sit on it. You're meant to make hay while the sun shines. Like put that information to good use. More AI stuff coming through here. That's an interesting message. Somebody may have been considering getting into AI, or may have even been working with a group with AI on some kind of project. And you're starting to see a more suspect side of that that's letting you know you don't want to be connected to that. You're changing your mind. You don't care how much the payout promises to be. It's not worth selling your soul. Okay, so maybe there's AI being employed by a group in relation to something. I got Pennsylvania connected to that. You don't want to be attached to that. I got C as in Espanol, C, yes, okay. So I got Panama coming in relation to that too. And it was interesting because with Panama coming in, it made me think of Roth, David Lee Roth, right? But I didn't pick it up as David Lee Roth. It was more just highlighting Roth to me, and it made me think of Rothschild. Okay, so there could be something in connection to this, the Rothschild family, that's being illuminated here. Somebody has the nickname Mr. Clean. I don't know why. Maybe they look like Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, you got to clean something up. You got to clean something up. Somebody may be scrubbing files. It may have something to do with AI. It may have something to do with online activity. Could be connected to Panama. Or the Rothschild family. Not just coming in. Interesting. See anything else that wants to come in here. I got the name Lucas. I don't know why, but it made me think of Lucas Films. Him, Lucas, George Lucas. Okay. Lucas Ranch. There might be something coming through in relation to Lucas Ranch. I don't know why, but every time I bring these through, there's always like, you know, so many celebrity and political and macrocosmic stuff that comes through that's not necessarily connected to the collective. And yet there's something that does want to come through here. Something that needs to be seen. Yeah, something that needs to be seen. Okay, something will be seen. And I got the last name Harmon. Mark Harmon? Interesting. Okay, is there anything else? I got a May Day coming out of California. Okay, so somebody's signaling for help out of California. The month of May could be significant. This could be something that will be coming up in May. I think of the month of May, it makes me think of Taurus. So there could be a Taurus connected to that. I got Panhandle coming in around that too. Panhandle District. I got the name May as well. M-A-E, May. May, Mabel, Maybelline, Maybelline. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Okay. I don't know what that's about, but that's interesting. Okay. And with that, I'm hearing ciao. Ciao, Bella. Okay, so somebody may be freeing themselves from a Maybelline contract. There might be something going down legally too around that. I got DA in connection with that. I think we're going to leave it at that because it feels like it's really just sticking on the macrocosmic track, and I really wanted to get a little bit more of the collective energy, but it's been so intertwined recently that it's been difficult to, you know, dissect, and it kind of all just comes in together. But I did want to touch on this a little bit. In relation to freeing themselves from a contract, I did get the name Andy McDowell. Okay. Oh no, did Andy McDowell ever work with Maybelline? Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. That's what I got. I'll see you all on the other side of this 72-hour reality tunnel. It looks like things will be quite interesting. Oh, we do have Queen Mob coming through too. So, yes, maybe you are ready to rule. You are ready to rule. And take your appropriate place here. And I don't know. I think that's a good thing. Your Nana would be proud. That's what I'm hearing. Your Nana would be proud. Your Nana would be proud, Nene. I got the name Nene coming out here. Your Nana would be proud of what you're stepping up into here and how you're doing it. You got the vote of approval. You're doing the right thing. Okay? You're doing the right thing. I also have the name Ayana coming in relation to that. Beautiful name. Ayana. All right? Your Nana would be proud. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe the Nana's name is Ayana. Not quite sure how that's coming through, but it wanted to come through for somebody here. You're straightening your crown. And I do feel you're getting like a stamp of approval from your Nana. So it could be somebody that is passed on. Okay. You're on your way. That's all I know. All right. See you all on the other side. And in the meantime, Godspeed.